Welcome to the 27 presented by The Critic. We are the world's first and only student-teacher podcast on the MCU, where today we close out our journey with Sam and Bucky as we discuss the final two episodes of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier with Rachael. Rachael, welcome back.
Thank you.
It is good to see you.
It's good to be here.
I mean, we said, I think you have now, we need to put a leaderboard together, most appearances, because you would be, I think you are number one.
I might be.
Because you have multiple appearances in both seasons. So we appreciate you coming back. We had you on earlier for WandaVision. And I think these are like your favorites from my memory. I think maybe Wanda and Bucky are like your two.
Yeah, I
your
go
top
for the
two.
ones that I enjoy the most.
And this is, we'll talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Do you prefer this or WandaVision?
I think I preferred WandaVision.
I don't want to give away my, I ranked the movies last year. This season's a little bit different because you can't rank. I'm not ranking all the episodes, but this is the second show. I'll see where I fall on this by the ends. But that's what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the last two episodes. Quick season. Why do you think it was so short?
I feel like there should be like a season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it would have to have a different name. Because as we see at the title card at the end, it is now Captain America and the Winter Soldier. That's like the very end of the episode. Like the way the first 5 episodes ended with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, just that kind of title card. This switches it over, which we get the answer to our question when Irene was on. We talked about why Sam was listed as Captain America on IMDb. I was like, I'm guessing he's going to become Captain America by the end of this. And he, in fact, did. But we're not there yet. We have plenty to get to. 2 episodes. Episode 5 is entitled Truth. Episode 6 entitled One World, One People. Let's just start with this. This is our 3rd episode talking about this TV show. And we just can't stop talking about a John Walker, Mr. John Walker. I mean, our listeners can't see your face right now. Our viewers might be able to see it, but there was a clear exhale from you. So put that exhale into words. How do you feel about John Walker?
I hate him. I hate him so much. I see that they tried to give him like a little redemption thing when he like stopped the van and everything. I will never accept him in any form. He's
such a cornball. Like that's what I just keep going back to, and I think we probably talked about it because you were on the Captain America episode, the first, the first Avenger, Captain America. Like Captain America, a little bit corny, but that's because he was like from the 40s and life was a little bit cornier back then, and he was kind of like the good guy type thing. But like everything about John, just be your own person. And which, by the way, we'll talk about U.S. Agent. That's also a terrible name. We'll get to that. But yeah, nothing is good about him. And we see that apparently the super soldier serum just made him a complete psychopath. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it is.
I mean, he just the end of the previous episode, I described it as his world star moment when he gets caught by all these cameras killing this guy in cold blood. Mistaken identity, right? It was Carly that killed Lamar, right? It wasn't this person, but he not only does he say when it happens, but then when he's talking to Lamar's parents later on, he continues the lie that like he killed the person who killed Lamar. I don't know. I'm just not buying it. I do love in that first scene. So in the first scene, we have a showdown, Bucky, Sam, John, and they're demanding the shield back. Are they right to demand the shield?
Yeah. It's not John's. Doesn't belong to him.
And then, he's kind of, brought disgrace to it. Look, obviously, Steve Rogers sets a really high bar of being a great guy, all that, great friend, great patriot, great hero, great Avenger, all those great things. He's none of those things. And then on top of that, he literally, not only does he kill a guy, he kills the guy with the shield. And the shield, they keep going back to this shot. It was one of the things I liked about kind of the cinematography of this episode is in that scene where they're fighting, every time they show the shield, they zoom in on the blood, just as this reminder of what he did.
Yeah.
I don't know. We were talking about the shield prior. We have it here. We're trying not to touch the table. Our wobbly table already, which being held up by a video and production editing textbook. But the shield, is it the most iconic symbol of the MCU?
It definitely is.
I mean, if it's just one, it's made of vibranium. You know, if we're talking about, I know that's not necessarily, well, no, there's a symbolism to that, right? That it's like one, it's made by, what is Tony's dad's name? Howard. It's made by Howard Stark, Stark Industries. It's made from vibranium. And it, you know, is like, you know, Captain America. He's the first Avenger. It's got the red, white, and blue, the star on it. It's an iconic symbol. We were trying to brainstorm before some of the other ones. What did you say is an iconic symbol?
Tony's arc reactor.
I think that's a big one, especially, what was it? Is it when Tony dies? Or the proof that, or is that the Iron, whenever it is, proof that Tony Stark had a heart or something like that. So that's definitely a good one. I think when you look up symbols, like you end up seeing a lot of masks, like Black Panther's mask or Iron Man's mask. Like
Black Widow's the little hourglass shape.
True. Spider-Man's eyes. You know, I think this is a kind of symbol. Check out, we have a new sign here in our studio, representative of our second logo, which is available on our merch, which you can find on our Instagram page. We're bugging you, Rachel. You know, we got to get all our guests to pick up some merch.
I'm going to wear it to the next episode.
Excellent. That's the requirement. You're not allowed to come back on unless you have the merch to wear it. But yeah, I think that's what makes John Walker even, it's like you can make a really long list of why he's a clown. And one of them is he has brought disgrace to the brand and the name Captain America. And they deserve to take that shield off him. I would fall on that side. He's still derangedly, if that's a word, thinks that like he's Captain America. Like when he goes in front of that like Senate committee and they're like, you're stripped of everything. He's like, you built me and I am Captain America. I don't know. Why does he think this? Like
he's too far gone in the illusion. He thinks too much that he's like, this is what he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But he's not. He's nothing like it, and he never really will be. No matter how much he tries to. And
it takes away from the fact that, like, he is a war hero. Like, he is a great soldier who has contributed a lot to his nation and served proudly, but he's not on that level. He just is not. He gets punished. He gets basically stripped of the Captain America title as an adult who's so interested as you get older. Things like insurance and pensions and benefits, super important. He gets stripped of everything. They're like, you will not get any benefits. They don't fully court-martial him, which like they could. Like he could be thrown out of, like he killed a guy. Like he kills basically a civilian.
They literally said he was lucky that they're not like court-martialing
and he still won't take it. He's banging his fist. He's getting angry. And you know that he swears he'll be back. It was he's a little out of line. But then again, like that's what he is. I don't know. I don't need a John Walker backstory. We don't need any more John Walker in our lives. Do we get any more John? Well, they're setting this U.S. agent thing up just to jump towards the end. Is U.S. agent, has he appeared in anything that I've missed?
Oh, no.
Yeah. But like that's clearly a setup for like he's going to be in something.
I probably, if it's like about him, I probably won't watch it unless it has like Bucky and like.
There are other factors that could make you watch it. Yeah. I mean, I'm just gonna assume that he must have some PTSD from serving in the military because he definitely he's got a short fuse. He gets super violent. I don't know if the super soldier serum is pushing him towards this as well.
I feel like it might be because I can't remember where. It said that it like amplifies all the parts of you, not just the good stuff.
Yes, which is what Lamar says to me. He's like, "Oh, a hero," or like, "It's just an amplified version of yourself." But like you're saying, it's all the parts. It's not just the good things.
Yeah, it's the bad things too.
Important things.
That's why they chose Steve.
Which again, so that's the idea, right? Even when I feel like I have notes somewhere about it, like the fact that Steve comes from nothing. That he's like scrawny and the military doesn't even want him, that like he has that humble background. So when he becomes Captain America, he's still humble. John Walker, great success as a soldier, Purple Hearts, all these things. And when it's time for him to be Captain America, he doesn't have that humility, which is really what you need. Yeah. It's a good life lesson as well. You gotta be humble in life. Always have to be humble. Talk to me. From my count, this is the third time that I have met this woman with 4 names almost. Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. I believe she's in the post-credit scenes of Black Widow when they like go and Black Widow's sister, they visit her grave. Black Widow's sister and Valentina are at Black Widow's grave, and they talk about going and getting Clint. That, like, essentially Clint was responsible for her death, so they're going to go off on this mission to eventually get him.
I don't remember that scene, but...
I remember that. She's in Wakanda Forever. Have we seen Wakanda Forever?
I have not yet. And luckily, I haven't heard any spoilers yet, so...
She becomes Black Panther. That's the spoiler. Valentina becomes Black Panther. No, I only kid. But she is in Black Panther. Short, but, like, she's in it. And now she pops up in this. Do you know anything about her? Like...
No.
In Black Panther, I think she's in, like, the FBI, CIA, like, government worker. But clearly in this, with her interactions, like, she knows that John has taken the super soldier serum, and she seems to now, like, want to have her own, like, sidebar Captain America. Like, she wants to use him to her advantage for some missions, but I don't know.
The first time, like, I heard her talking about, like, I know you took the super soldier serum. Like, you did the right thing. I genuinely thought she was from, like, Hydra trying to replace Bucky. I was like, I don't know about this.
There's definitely that vibe to her that she is villainous. Like, so like I said, I can never think of his name. The actor, I shouldn't even describe it, he's in Black Panther. He's a British actor. He works for the CIA. He works for the FBI. Can't think of his name. I know who you're talking about. But she's in scenes with him, and, like, clearly in Wakanda Forever, she is a government employee. But in this and in that, she clearly has villainous energy. That, like, between, by the way, the purple streak in her hair, that usually has some type of, like, reminds me of Cruella de Vil or something, has some type of villainy in there. I expect to see more of her, but we can both hope and say our prayers that it is not in a John Walker origin story.
Yeah, I wouldn't watch
I don't think no one likes him. Now that the show is over, I'm done watching it, I'll have to go into a deeper internet dive on John Walker because I didn't want to find anything more and get spoilers or anything, but, like, super hateable. Everything about him.
I despise him.
I despise him as well. I think we can agree on that. I feel bad at how much I dislike him, including, like, I've been critical. Like, I hate his face. Just, like, his whole look is just,
I don't feel bad
it bugs me. It bugs me. In this, we are reintroduced to Isaiah Bradley, who we saw in the second episode. He is the black super soldier who has the backstory. He tells a little bit of his backstory there. And what we then get injected into this episode, which was always kind of there, but it's talked much more explicitly now, is kind of the relationship of black soldiers in America, right? The idea that soldiers would go fight. And this is stuff we covered in A-Push. You might remember, maybe we talked about it in A-Push last year. You're supposed to say yes, even if you don't remember. Just do me a favor and, make me feel like you remember something.
I remember
that time when we talked about World War II, right? And the idea that, like, there would be soldiers who go and, like, have to serve abroad, fight for America's freedoms, and then come back and, like, get abused or, like, have their homes burned or have to sit in the back of the bus or can't go into restaurants. And Isaiah Bradley not only has this experience, but then on top of that, as a super soldier, because he cites that he violated some rules, he's then, like, put in jail and essentially he becomes a guinea pig. Do you think he's right? So, and by right, I'm asking, like, he's really trying to be clear with Sam that, like, there's no place for a black Captain America. One, the country will never accept it. And two, like, why should you do it when the country has treated us so poorly? Any thoughts on that?
I think he was more projecting, like, his own fear onto it because, like, he was treated so badly, and then maybe he just didn't want Sam to get treated like that.
Get pulled in, like, kind of be, like, tricked. And that's a really astute point.
Yeah, I think it was really nice how, like, at the end, like, he showed him that, like, he knows there's people that's not going to like it, but he doesn't care because he's doing the right thing.
Which is all that matters.
And, like, the statue at the end in the museum, I thought that was really beautiful.
It was really good that he's able to bring him in and have him immortalized, right? Because, like, he serves his country, and not only is he abused, as were so many other black soldiers post-World War II, but then on top of that, like, he's erased. Like, he has to essentially... He cites that, like, there's a friendly worker in the prison who, like, fakes his death so that he can kind of escape. So, like, he's fully wiped out from history. I like this in the sense of I have some bias as a history teacher, but I love when they like really try to tie in the real world or history into these. I think there's a lot of origin just with even the creation of the characters in the cartoons by Stan Lee in the beginning. But like, you know, when we did the Black Panther episode, we talked about imperialism. Like this is like, you know, a lot of that, you know, stuff you learn in AP World. You can say you don't remember any of the AP World stuff. That's fine. You just got to remember the AP US stuff. But, you know, imperialism and the scramble for Africa and how Wakanda wanted to protect itself from that. Hydra is essentially Nazis, right? That's kind of like, you know, the parallel there. And then we have this like true to life story where they're able to use Isaiah Bradley and Sam to tell the stories of, you know, black soldiers from World War II. So I think it's an important story to tell, and I appreciate teacher. I even wrote down the quote. He says, "They will never let a black man be Captain America, and if they do, no self-respecting black man would want to be." And I think that hits on your point, right? Maybe he's looking to protect Sam. So nice job on that. Sam decides, though, he's going for it, right? Yeah. They have the shield. And is it fair to say, like, is this what Steve wanted?
Well, Steve gave the shield to Sam, so he definitely knew that Sam would, like, do the right thing. He would definitely know, like, how to act with it. So I definitely do think it was the right thing.
And it's nice where, you know, this is the story of, you know, Bucky and Sam, right? And their relationship developing over time. And throughout each of the episodes, it builds a little bit more from, like, their very buddy cop type thing or, you know, a love-hate relationship. But they have this great breakdown of their relationship down in Louisiana at Sam's family's house, where they kind of break down like, well, we're friends with each other because we were friends of a guy, but now that guy's gone, we were mutual friends. And then they like break it down to like, well, now we're just a couple guys, and they like kind of like shake hands on it, and like I think it's like it's the nice confirmation of their friendship kind of coming together. Yeah, I appreciate both of these characters. We know you love Bucky. By the way, thank you for bringing in. We've added some bobbleheads for today's episodes. Kept them in the box. This was a point of discussion. We took Wanda out, or we took the...
Well, Wanda was always out. I never had the box for her.
Oh, okay. There you go. So then we have here Zemo, right?
Yeah.
Baron Zemo. And then we have... good old Captain, from the Winter Soldier. I'm reading the back of the box. We have the Winter Soldier himself. This is Zemo from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. What are your thoughts on Zemo? Talk to me about Zemo.
I think the end, like where him and Bucky are standing in front of the statue and like Bucky releases like the bullets from his hand instead of actually shooting him. Yeah. I definitely like that because he was like ready to die. Like he forgave Bucky because like he knew like he only was doing like what he had to do.
He probably would have been happy to die in Sokovia too, you know, to kind of go back home to where, you know, his life had once been.
But I got a thing for the morally gray characters. I love them. Like the bad characters that
I like that phrase, morally gray. Who else are some of the morally gray characters, do you think?
Bucky, Loki, those characters. Yeah. You know, I love them.
I definitely am with you. I feel like Bucky, it's like he's becoming less gray over time. He's always going to have that Winter Soldier in him. As we talked about in the last episode, when they go to, what's it called? Madrupa? Where's the place where they go in the previous episode, where they meet Sharon and whatever? They're like, he fights in the bar and his Winter Soldier skills come out just like that. But I think he's like trying to make amends. We see it when he tells the neighbor that he killed his son.
He's not a bad guy. He was never a bad guy.
He was never a bad guy. Hydra just made him a bad one. Yeah. And then that's like, he was, you know, he was like literally brainwashed. Like he wasn't in control of anything he did.
He's not a bad person. He was never a bad person. He was an amazing person.
What a story with Bucky. Well, you know, I think that's a great thing to come out of this where, like, I think you see Bucky's story starting in Winter Soldier, carrying through the rest of the movies that he appears in.
No, Bucky's story starts in the first Avenger.
Yes, but he's quickly gone in the first Avenger. Like, I know he's friends with Steve there, but the Winter Soldier, I think, is really where he's just he's Steve's friend. And I know he's like not only Steve's friend, but he's like his best friend. He encourages him. He's like he stops bullies, right? And when Steve's getting picked on, he's right there. Mm-hmm. But I think the true story then comes out with the Winter Soldier.
Personally, in the first movie, if I wasn't able to catch him from falling off that train, I would have jumped right after him. I'm going too.
That's not going to do anyone any good.
That's okay.
Then it'll be over. You don't want to live with that Bucky. That's what I'm hearing.
Too.
You don't want to live with that Bucky. That's what I'm hearing. But I love their relationship. Sam decides that's it. I'm going for it. He begins his training. I feel, and I'm not going to touch his shield because before we started recording, I knocked it down about 3 times. It would be hard to train on that shield. The way he's like throwing it at the trees and everything like that, it's a vibranium shield. Like if you miss that thing, it's going to hurt you. It's used as a weapon. So I feel like I wouldn't be a good superhero for a variety of reasons, but one of them would be not having the coordination to, practice my maneuvering with that shield. I would definitely
get my head chopped off. I
mean, it's, again, vibranium, and it's moving at high speeds, bouncing off trees. To try to catch it, I feel like you could break your arm.
Oh,
but I don't know. Talk to me about the Flag Smashers and Carly. Your thoughts on them?
Their cause was it was a good cause. They just went about it a really wrong way for it.
And she seems like she just gets more broken over time. Like as more people die in her life, she becomes ruthless. Where you could say. Maybe she was morally gray, to use your phrase, but then she becomes villainous, ready to just murder people. Starting with in the previous episode when they bomb the embassy or whatever it is.
She said she was saying that the movement is big enough to go on without them if they die. But when she does get shot and does die, she's kind of crying.
Yeah.
So I don't think she actually expected to die doing it.
She thought she had enough support that she wouldn't die. Yeah, I gotta be honest. I don't need the Flag Smashers in this series at all. I feel like you could have told this story through the John Walker shield. That would have made the show. Especially, it's only 6 episodes. I shared in the last episode, and when we get to the end of our conversation today, I'll bring up there's too much happening in this show at times. Where there are too many characters, too many storylines, and to me there are 2 pieces of fat that could be trimmed here: the Flag Smashers and Sharon. I see no need for the inclusion of Sharon in that whole story in this. But
I would have watched just 6 straight episodes of Sam and Bucky beating this
just
shit
working
out of
on
John.
Just working on the boat, maybe. I just want to see Sam and Bucky go shrimping.
I'd watch Slice of Life Sam and Bucky. I'd watch that show.
Just the real boring things.
I'd watch it.
Slice of Life Sam and Bucky. So that's why I got episode 5 here. But we can't leave episode 5 without talking about John Walker one more time, because we get a mid-credit scene here, and it's this idiot making his own Captain America shield. He's such an unoriginal goober. And by the way, the shield's made of vibranium. That's what makes it so great. Your janky homemade, take whatever scrap metal you have in your garage and solder it together. It's not gonna do anything. I don't know.
It's not. It's so stupid. You don't need that trash can lid. You don't need it.
And then, by the way, when they fight, it gets dented and busted immediately.
What did you think that was gonna? You think you would throw it and it would come back in perfect condition?
You're fighting super soldiers. Small children could probably dent in. I just hate it. It was really the final nail in the coffin of how much of an idiot John Walker is.
He thought he was doing something so great. I'm gonna do this. I'm still gonna be Captain America. I'm great.
No one cares, John. And also, kind of a middle finger, if you will, to his service in the military. He disassembles his Medal of Honor to, put the little medal on his stupid shield, which then gets destroyed.
Yeah.
I can't take it. It was just watching that. I was first I was excited because there was post-credit scene or mid-credit scene. I was oh, this is really cool.
And then you get this.
Oh, and he's painting it, and he's got his blowtorch out. Negative.
He thinks he's so special.
He does think he's special. And to be fair, in the regular world, he kind of is, right? Someone who can serve in the military and win all those medals and show that bravery. Sure.
In the superhero world, you're nothing, dude.
This is not your place, John. Go home. So that moves us on to episode 6, One World, One People, our season finale. Let me just tell you, the combination of the Falcon and Captain America, I am here for it. It's a super duper hero, because at times I've kind of been not critical of the Falcon, but It was the same critique, but I think even more that, like, sometimes you can give, say, Iron Man. Like, his suit is super. Like, he's just a guy, but the suit is what really makes him great. I think even more so. Yeah, well, with Tony, I think you have his bravado, his genius is what does it. But at the end of the day, when it comes to fighting the aliens or the monsters, the suit is the thing.
Yeah.
I'd say he's not a superhero without the suit.
I think he is.
Could he fight anyone with the suit without the suit?
No, but that doesn't necessarily mean he isn't a superhero without it.
Look, if I'm talking superhero, I need to know that when the sky opens up in Midtown Manhattan and aliens come pouring through it, that someone's going to be able to stop this from happening. And Tony Stark in a suit and tie ain't getting it done. Unless he sends one of his Mach 99s to, go out and fight for him. But we're not talking about Tony. Tony always comes up. I have a very complicated relationship with Tony Stark and Iron Man. I really kind of moved around. You just straight love.
I just straight love it.
Who, Bucky or Tony? Who do you like?
Bucky.
Yeah, it's Bucky's number one.
Bucky will always be number one.
Okay, that's fair. Well, I think to a lesser extent, not so much Tony, but Sam having the wings. It's like, the wings are awesome. The wings are fine. But, like, that alone, just having that, I was a little critical of. Like, I don't think in terms of, like, if I'm doing my power rankings of superheroes, he would kind of be more towards the middle. But throw in the shield, throw in, that training montage. He's doing push-ups. He's doing flips and spins. He's running around sweating in the bayou heat of Louisiana. I love this combination. And by the way, the suit looks good.
It does.
The whole thing looks really good. I love that. But just as I get excited that Sam has decided to be Captain America, which, by the way, when they showed previously on The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the beginning of this episode, I didn't pick up when it was on, but they show his nephews running around, and they're like, Uncle Sam, Uncle Sam. I was like, Uncle Sam, like the Patriot. That's a pretty good one. But before I could even enjoy, let me just read straight from my notes. And here comes John Walker. Boo. That shield would be a legit piece of garbage. So, and you know what happens? It's a legit piece of garbage. Doesn't do him any good. No one wants him there. He just inserts himself into this. Go away, John. I'm sure we'll talk about him again. The helicopter scene, a critique I could give of the show is I think there's a lot of bad fight scenes in it. I think even going back to the very first scene with, what's this dude's name? The French guy. I meant to write it down. The French guy that was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that was in Winter Soldier. They're just these scenes that whether it's the CGI or the fighting itself, they don't look that good. I don't love the scene over Manhattan when they're kind of, helping these delegates escape from the UN or wherever they are. But talk to me. I already kind of referenced this. Now I want to know your thoughts. Does Sharon need to be in this at all?
Well, I don't like Sharon, so...
Why not?
She just kind of bothers me. Her existence bothers me. Her relationship with, her relationship that she had with Steve.
Yeah.
And, with Bucky, it bothers me.
Well, there's a weird thing with, her relationship with Steve when, it was, her aunt, great aunt or whatever, who, was, his love. That was, his love. And then, she's kind of in there. But
it's very odd.
It is a little bit odd, but I just don't see any if I want to cut some of these storylines out,
I'd cut her out of it.
I would cut her out, and the power broker. I don't know. But what also bugs me is Sam and Bucky are pretty good at this superhero thing. Yeah. They seem to be they have no awareness that she's a villain. That the entire time she's doing things behind the scenes that are working just for her. Not that she's even totally she's doing things that meet her ends. Not that she's necessarily trying to help the what's their goofy name? The Flag Smashers. But anything that can help her, she's willing to do. And they have no idea the whole time. Did they just inherently trust her?
I feel it's because of the background that she had with Steve. That's the reason they trust her. Because if Steve trusts someone, I feel then they all can trust it. Because Steve has a pretty good judge of character.
Yeah, and I would say I would need to refresh my memory. she ends up in Madripoor or whatever. She ends up in exile because of civil war and the taking of the shield. Or there's something that, like, she needs to go into exile because of something that happens with Bucky and Steve and maybe Sam too.
The end of the episode where she's just like call the like buyers and stuff, like, because they got all access to new things. I wanted to smack her so bad.
And just like, again, as always, suspension of disbelief. This is not reality. Totally get it. But like, that whole scene, like that, whoever that senator is with the beard who makes John Walker Captain America and who now pardons Sharon, he comes across like a total clown. The government looks like idiots all throughout this series. But then, like, to fully pardon someone, like, can we check her phone records? Or, like, hey, can you just tell us what you've been doing in Madripoor? Can we have some, like, receipts?
Alibi. Where's the alibi?
But then, like, the second she gets out, like you said, she's on her cell phone calling whatever nefarious associates she has to be like, so the super soldier serum is gone, but now I have access to all the government's weapons. And she's
secrets and everything.
Like, this is going to work? Like, I don't know. I did just say the government was a bunch of idiots, but I don't. The whole thing, I did not need her. She serves no good purpose. I'm not buying it.
I feel like they're going to do, like, something else. Like, if they do, like, a John Walker story thing where it's, like...
We need to stop talking about this in case we speak it into existence. In case somehow this is known.
Yeah, no, because if like, they make, like, the U.S. agent thing and they, like, add her into it, suck.
Yeah.
And even if Bucky and Sam are in it, I'm not going to want to watch it anyway.
Look, you are now the 6th, 7th guest we've had on to talk about Falcon and Winter Soldier. Everyone hates John Walker. Everyone hates John Walker.
So everyone everywhere hates John Walker.
They can't make a series about it. He then ends up, John Walker, back in, like, the same, like, Senate room where he was court-martialed, which I just question, like, who would let him in there? Like, you know, the fact that, like, so we're just supposed to, you cited this early in the episode, he has his, like, hero moment when he saves the truck, but, like, he still killed this dude. Yeah. He still got thrown out of the military. He still got stripped from being Captain America. Oh, and by the way, then he, against what they told him to do, went back and started fighting as Captain America again. And, like, all that just seems to be forgotten.
You can't just forget that.
No, and there's no way he'd be able to, like, get back, like, you know, when you go into these government buildings, you got to, like, submit names or get on a list or something. Be like, oh, John Walker's here. But maybe Valentina has some ability to get him in there, because now she brings him back. He's wearing the same outfit, except now it's black instead of blue, and she introduces U.S. agent.
Yeah, there's definitely something shifty going on.
Totally shifty, totally sketchy. I just don't like. So the problem with John Walker, one of the many problems, is that, like, he tried to be Captain America, unoriginal. Like, if they just were maybe like, you are. Think of a name,
give him a different
whatever. Title, not make him that. But now, when they try to rebrand him again, like, he's still in the same outfit, just a different color. And now he's U.S. agent, which is like, forget the U.S. thing. Come up with a different name for him. Don't make anyone remember that he was Captain America. A U.S. agent on its own is a stupid name on top of that. U.S. agent.
Like, even, like, in the posters that they had of him, he looked like a bad guy throughout it all. Yeah. So you could just tell whatever it is going on with him, it's gonna suck.
No matter what John Walker does. If you take nothing from the 3 episodes of the 27 about the 6 episodes of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it's that John Walker sucks. We talked about Bucky's confession to his neighbor. You know, Bucky's still going through it. Bucky's figuring out he has gone through his book. He leaves a little note for his psychiatrist, his therapist. He goes and he talks with the neighbor. I also did not need to see the potential love interest with Sam's sister and Bucky, like the little seeds. Like, it's just unnecessary.
I kind of liked, like, the end, like, the little love interest thing, because, like, I like the idea of, like, him being happy with someone else, like, someone he can,
that's
like...
fair. But he peeks in and he sees the girl that he had the blind date with in, like, the Japanese restaurant at the end after he speaks with his neighbor. You know, I hope to see Bucky again. We're going to see him again, right?
Oh, absolutely. They can't get rid of him. He's loved.
He is loved. Much like John Walker is hated, Bucky is loved. And like I said, we get the final tag here where they put up the title card, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then the Falcon kind of turns over to Captain America. Is the Falcon as a superhero dead? That's it? Now it's just Captain America?
Well, he's definitely he's definitely going to be referred to as like the Falcon still. But like there's also going to be like the Captain America name with it. So I feel like they're going to use both for it.
Okay. And then we just talked about as well, Sharon gets pardoned. That's our mid-credit scene there. So we've reached the end of our 6 episodes. Let's talk about some big ideas around Falcon and the Winter Soldier. You can see I made a column, right? I needed to make like a little good and bad list, pro con. How can I evaluate this show? So let's start with the good. Let's be positive here, Rachel. The good here is Sam and Bucky, right?
Absolutely.
The 2 of them as individuals, one of them as a pair, their coupling is excellent. Their interactions, their friendship. Bucky's always going to be a badass fighter. He's always going to be someone you can count on to do some serious damage. He's got that vibranium arm. Bucky's great. Sam now as Captain America / the Falcon. He's awesome as well. They were both essentially chasing ghosts. I feel like I had that. Did I write that down? Bucky and Sam are both chasing ghosts. The Winter Soldier is always chasing... Sorry, let me put... Bucky's always chasing the ghost of the Winter Soldier, right? He's always trying to either make amends for what he did in the past or make sure he doesn't become that person again, but it's always inside of him. Sam seems to be chasing Steve's ghost, right? He gave him the shield. He sees it. I think he sees it as too much of a mantle to take up. Like when he returns the shield in the first episode. Why do you think he returned the shield? Did we talk about this? I know. I feel like I asked a similar question.
No.
I think. What do you think?
I think when he returned the shield, I feel like Steve has just this huge legacy to live up to, and I feel like maybe he thought he couldn't live up to it, or maybe the legacy was just perfect the way it was. But then John Walker getting the shield and screwing up the legacy,
ruining it,
and I feel like him wanting it back, it was just he realized if anyone should continue it, it should be him. Because Steve thought, okay, you're good for this job.
Yep.
You can definitely carry out my legacy. We've worked together. I see what you can do. You definitely earned this. So I feel like him giving up the shield, retiring it, definitely wasn't the right thing.
Yeah.
But it's good that he realizes now that he can definitely take on the legacy. He can take it further.
And he needs to go through even more of a decision because so the reason I ask this is then Isaiah brings up a whole other thing, the treatment of African Americans in this country. And can you be the Stars and Stripe guy in a country that has not treated you well? So he walks in with, I totally agree with you, just that the specter of replacing Steve, which is impossible. So he gives it back, and now he's confronted with this. Even when he begins to move after the failure of John Walker, even as he begins to think, hey, maybe I can do it, he then has to grapple with what he had never known, which is the whole backstory of Isaiah Bradley. And then he has to grapple with that. But at the end of the day, he makes the right decision. So that's a good one, Sam and Bucky. New Captain America, if he ends up, whether he's Falcon, Captain America, it's good to have Captain America. No one will ever replace Steve. We know it wasn't going to be John Walker. If John Walker was the Captain America, no one would have wanted that.
No one would go see it in the theaters.
No one's interested. No. But I would go see a Captain America Sam movie.
Yeah, I
that'd be a good
would.
movie. And then finally, what I'm going to do? I'm going to shout out Wakanda as a part of this as well. They have a small piece in this, but we have a couple of things. One, sorry, Mr. Zemo. How much would it stink to be on that floating prison in the middle of the ocean?
That's gotta suck.
It's so hopeless. Because let's say you even manage to break out, which you're not going to. You're in the middle of the ocean. It's not even like Alcatraz where you can see San Francisco. You probably won't survive the swim, but at least you can see it. This is just a floating prison in the middle of the ocean.
He's swimming for it, man.
I don't think he's going to make it. But then shout out Bucky, because for returning Zemo, he's like, hey, I need one more thing from you. And he gets the Wakandans to build Sam's new wings, which were destroyed by... Who destroyed John? It was John that destroyed them.
It was John. He ripped them.
Man. Really need to make a list. Maybe we can make a list of just all the bad things that he did or he was John Walker. Yeah. But he's still around. U.S.
Well, that's
agent.
a pretty long list.
It is a pretty long list. I don't think, we need a lot of paper or a lot of notes on our phones.
Just one giant scroll leading out the door.
Never ending. So I think these are the good things. If I'm going to go the negative, I kind of share. John Walker. We're not going to go anymore. We're kind of beating a dead horse.
The cons are it's just John Walker's name. It's just John Walker. Con.
It's just like, at this point our shield has blood all over from beating John with it. So we'll leave it at that.
Why did you think that was a good idea, man?
Because he's a psycho. Because he, like the super soldier serum, melted his brain, which he might have already had PTSD from serving in Iraq. And then he just kind of lost it because his friend died. But also, like, Steve's friend died, or at least he thought he died, right? Where, like, he didn't go around
kept
killing.
Going.
Yeah, doing the right thing. Flag Smashers, don't need them. Sharon, don't need her. Too much. I think my biggest criticism of the show is too much is going on. I think if you streamlined it. Now, while we hate John Walker, I'm not saying I wanted more of him, but it also, like, look, these movies or any type of entertainment, if it elicits a reaction from you, it's doing its job. Even if that reaction is like, I hate this person, it's still engaging you in it. And when you see him get beat up, you feel that much better. So I could have done the John Walker versus Bucky and Sam story with Sam's backstory still happening. Yeah, I didn't need all those other things. I get the Flag Smashers to a degree. I don't get Sharon at all. And yeah, I think that's it. I mean, overall, I think this is good. If I were to rank, to go back to what I was saying earlier, I think I liked WandaVision better. Because just like, I know out of WandaVision, I didn't make a good bad list for WandaVision, but if I had, my bad wouldn't have been as bad. Like the things that I don't like about this show, I genuinely didn't like. Like it really knocked it down. Like I shared last week, I think the first 2 episodes were excellent. I think the 3rd and 4th episodes were not. I said like first 2 were like an A, 3 and 4 were like a C. I think these bounce back up. I'll put these at like a B+ in around there.
Because like there's too much going on in this show. And then in WandaVision, it's just like you got like the straight plot line.
Yes.
It's just her in her own reality and then what happens at the end of it.
Yeah,
but this, true. It has like the Flag Smashers, John Walker's story, Sam and Bucky's own lives.
Yeah. It's a lot. So I think they tried to, and also all that in 6 episodes. And I get that runtime, it's probably longer than WandaVision because WandaVision was 9 episodes, but it was like, 35, 40 minutes an episode. This is 6 at like 50-ish minutes. But I think they could have, we could have, if you were going to do 6 episodes, you could have done a tight 6 episodes on a more narrow story. I think that would be
like if you could have had like different shows for what goes on in this.
Yeah.
Like Sharon's story is like the power broker, John Walker's story of like thinking he's Captain America. Yeah. Like those could have been separate stories.
Yes. So overall, I think this is good. I didn't dislike it, which I know sounds like lukewarm, not good reviews. I did like it. Yeah. But I think, I think it had areas that it could have been better. Yeah. We good? Did we do it, Rachel?
Yeah, we did it.
I think we did it. The big thing for us to talk about here is that our merch is now on sale.
You got to buy the merch.
Got to buy the merch at the 27 THHS on Instagram. You go there, you look in our profile. That is the link right there. We're sharing it out with former guests. If get our merch. I know I'm posting it on my classroom pages.
Do it.
Someone suggested I offer extra credit for it, but I said that's like unethical. I think at that point I'm having students pay for grades, which I think could really get me in trouble. So I'm not doing that. I am encouraging my students to buy the merch. We have a hoodie.
Be part of something.
You got to be part of something, right? We got a T-shirt for, when we roll into spring. We got a hoodie as we are now in the middle of winter, and it is with our revised logo where we swapped out the red for the black and the red for the white. And it is a darn good logo. I think it came out.
Depending on what the next episode I come back for is, I will definitely wear it.
I think you got to do it.
Many
people have described this merch as cute. I don't know if you are aware of that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Heard.
So go buy the merch. I think we have, this episode's coming out on Monday. So if you're listening to this, I think we have until like Thursday the 25th 21st or whatever Thursday is. Let's say today's the 16th, 22nd. Thursday the 22nd. Get your merch, get your merch, get your merch. A big thanks to the producer, whose name is Irene, doing a lot of work for us, moving cameras. There's another movie podcast here at Townsend Harris. It's called Operation Tomato Meter. They have a production team of I think there's 17 producers on that show.
Seriously?
Yeah, and they do good work there.
We got Irene doing it all.
We got Irene. It takes 17 people to make up one Irene. That's how good Irene is at her job. So we're very thankful that she is doing the work for us. Ryan for his video editing. Irene's episode, which was episode 1 and 2. The first 2 episodes of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that's up on YouTube now. Scarlett and Rebecca's episode from last week will be going up shortly. And then this one you're listening to right now. Yeah. Go check out the Classic YouTube page. I think it's at the Classic TV on YouTube. Critic.thhsclassic.com. Our stuff will be popping up there soon as well. Go listen to Operation Tomato Meter. It takes an army to do that podcast, so you should go listen to that. And big crossover event next week. Our last episode of 2022 will be a crossover episode with Ren and Angeline from Operation Tomato Meter, and we're going to be talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. Have you seen this? Do you know anything about this? I didn't see it yet either. I have not seen the trailer. There's a trailer for the new Guardians movie. I did not see that, but that will be next week.
I've heard rumors about it, though, what people are thinking about it.
Oh, really? Was it good things, bad things?
Bad things. Couple bad things. People aren't too happy about what they think might happen.
So we will get to it when we talk about it. I fear that Guardians 3 could go down the same path of Love and Thunder, which is the idea that so Guardians 1 is one of my favorite ones. For a while, when we were watching it, I had it at number 1. It ended up somewhere in the top 10. But it is a different type of movie. It's funny. But same thing happened with Ragnarok was so good. And then they tried to make Ragnarok Part 2 with Love and Thunder, where it was kind of the same vibe and energy to it. And it wasn't as good. I feel like Guardians has such a defined vibe. The comedy, the jokes that if you don't do that right, it could just become stale.
Sounds kind of forced.
A little bit forced, a little bit silly and wacky, which by the time you get to the third one, you might be over. But we'll see. I'm excited to watch it. I'm excited to have Ren and Angeline on next week. Well, Rachel, thank you again for jumping on.
Oh, yeah. I'm really excited for the next season, too.
Next season, next year? Well, we got to see. You'll be gone. Irene will be gone. We need...
Just because I'll be gone doesn't mean I won't find a way back.
Pop back in for another episode. Well, we can do
that. I'm going to sneak back in here for the What If series. Because I'm going to be here for the zombie series. Because Bucky's in it.
Well, most importantly, the next time you're on, you're going to have that 27 merch on. And can get
well, it depends on what episode it is, because what if I have a shirt for it?
True. You said you're gonna. Well, you know what? Wear the merch. Don't wear the merch. As long as you buy the merch. That's what we're looking for.
Buy the merch.
Buy the merch at the 27 THHS on Instagram. Go find that merch and get it. Okay. Well, thank you, Rachel. We'll see you soon, and we will see everyone next week on the 27. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.